Hello everyone, welcome back. A little bit of good news this week as well as some market updates when it comes to COVID-19 coming up. Welcome back to the channel everyone. My name is Sean. If you guys are new here, this channel is about saving, making, and mastering your money. We talk about personal finance and personal development topics. So if you're interested in that, please consider subscribing. So 3 quick stories about the news today. First, we'll talk about in Canada, some good news that we're starting to flatten the curve for new cases of COVID-19. We've now been in lockdown for a couple of months, so it's good to see that this is starting to have an effect, and across the country, we're seeing lower and lower numbers of new cases. Now, that said, while some of the big centers like Vancouver, British Columbia, are starting to see this trend and starting to see the curves really flatten, and a lot of the other provinces are pretty low. Alberta, my province, has bumped into 3rd spot because we're seeing an increased number of cases. We're behind Ontario and Quebec, who have also had some trouble containing the virus just because there are so many people there. So while Ontario and Quebec are dealing with the issue, Alberta is attributing the higher numbers to more testing because we've ramped up testing this week. So hopefully this isn't anything new. It just gives us more information. They're telling us it's not a reason to really panic, but they're still recommending everyone to stay home. The city has also gone ahead and canceled any major sporting events or concerts or gatherings up until the first week of July in an effort to, again, stop the spread. Now, Canada Day is celebrated on July 1st, just a few days before Independence Day, which is the big holiday for our neighbors to the south. And it sounds like this year, we're going to be celebrating it virtually. So normally there's a big celebration in the country's capital, but it sounds like we are now reorganizing ourselves to do everything virtually, and we'll still put on a show, it sounds like, with Canadian artists and celebrities, but it sounds like it's going to be done online. So that'll be interesting, and it's definitely a first. One more thing I thought I would mention is some international news, which is actually to do with India. India, since the 3rd week of March, has been on a mandated lockdown. The government shut down the country when it started to get the first few cases of coronavirus. And they had set their lockdown to end on April 14th. However, this week they decided to extend the lockdown for another 3 weeks, which would be 6 weeks for that country to be shut down. The reason this is significant, 1.3 billion people are now staying at home and not at work. And a lot of the things that we actually get here in North America go through India. So the biggest, maybe most obvious example to most people would be clothing. A lot of clothing is manufactured in India. So that's definitely a disruption to the supply chain in that industry. I know personally on my project, I have some equipment that gets manufactured there, and I'm having a hard time getting it out of the factory now because it's not open. So it's something that we'll have to work on. But of course, I'm hoping everybody in India is staying safe, staying indoors, and that this is over for them soon. So if anyone is watching this from India, Surakshit Rahana, which I hope came across as be safe in Hindi. Now, before I jump into the markets, I didn't actually think I would be doing this soon, but I wanted to do some more shoutouts. A couple videos ago, I did some for passing the 50 subscriber mark, which was awesome. I was actually at around 60. I've already passed the 75 subscriber mark. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Now, I'm gonna do some shout outs, but if you guys don't have your privacy settings to share when you have subscribed, say hello in the comments below. I'd love to say hi to you. But thank you to Andre Mikkelsen, Sagar Mandilkar, Arturo Mejia, Amy Hayes 1, 4K Gamer, and Sunil Venkata. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. And please remember to hit the like button to get this video out to more people. It really helps the algorithm. And I have offered that if I get to 100 subscriptions, I will open up the margin account to show you guys the other stuff that I've invested in for now. All right, so let's get to the markets. So I did a whole video on Air Canada about a week ago. If you guys haven't seen it, here's the link. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but if you didn't get a chance to get in on that company before it was under 20 bucks, it's now down $2.35 to $18.15, or down 11.46% this week. So it had a little bit of a rally, and it's kind of come back down since then. So if you had some cash, you were thinking about going for it, but didn't, just letting you know it's under 20 bucks right now. I don't want to spend all my time talking about airlines and cruise ships. However, they are probably the most obvious place that you would find companies most affected by this crisis. However, There are some others that I don't think get as much coverage or maybe aren't as obvious. So I started to try and think of other industries that maybe are not airlines or cruise ships, but are still travel related. Now, I might do a whole video on this, but I thought about car rental companies. And just doing a quick search, I found Hertz. Hertz is now at $5.01 US. It's down $15.24 or about 75% since the outbreak. So affected probably just as badly as airlines. Another one that came to mind was travel agencies. So I looked up Flight Center. I also learned that Flight Center is actually an Australian company. So by the way, speaking of Australia, shout out to Tracey Edwards, who is another YouTube channel that does a little bit of dividend investment topics and stuff like this. If you guys want a good channel to look at for that, I will leave a link to her channel below. But back to Flight Center. So it's at $10.52 Australian, down about $25 or 70% since the start of the outbreak. So that's something there that might be a growth opportunity in the future. Lastly, I was walking around the store and I got to thinking about luggage. There was some luggage on sale. Now, who's buying luggage these days? People aren't even going to be able to take flights, and even people who are maybe in the market to buy luggage are probably putting it off right now. The first company that came to mind about luggage, Samsonite. I wondered, how is Samsonite doing in all of this? I learned again something new this week, because when I looked up Samsonite, they're traded in Hong Kong dollars, but regardless, they're at $6.89, down $12.47 or 64.5%. So also affected more than average by this pandemic. So if you contrast this with the overall market, like I'll pick the S&P because I have the stats for that. I know that it's a different country than Samsonite would be in, but the S&P is down about 15%. So just like Southwest Airlines or Carnival Cruises that really got hammered during this, there are these other companies, even in other countries, that have been affected just as much. So it really shows you how this is now a global pandemic. Everybody's being affected, and it's companies that are across the world. Last thing I wanted to do, guys, was share with you some purchases I made. So despite all of this, I actually went in and I did buy some S&P 500. It's more of the VSP.TO. I bought 21 more shares of that. Now, the other thing was, since I couldn't decide between getting some CIBC stock or some Canadian Western Bank stock, I bought both. I actually ended up purchasing 76 shares of Canadian Western Bank and 15 shares of CIBC. And that was just for my TFSA account. In my margin account, I actually bought 50 more shares of Canadian Western Bank and 13 of CIBC. So I definitely got a little bit of exposure to financial markets now in Canada. I'm gonna hold these and see how things go for the next few months, and probably hold on to them for more than a year to get some good growth out of them. But I'm happy now that I have a little bit of that. That's all I have for this video, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you found it valuable, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Until next time, stay safe, spread the wealth, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hello. So if anyone sees this from India, Surakshit Rahana, which I hope came across as be safe in Indian, which I hope came across as be safe in Hindi. I probably totally messed that up. That's okay, we'll edit it out.